So what's the truth about taking care of chickens? Because from some people you might hear that they're really hard to take care of, and some people you might hear they're really easy and very low maintenance. When you hear about taking care of chickens, you're gonna hear about things like how smelly they are, about how you have to come out every single day and make sure they have food and water. On top of that, you're gonna have to make sure you come out every single day to open up their coop door, and then make sure at night you lock them up so that they're safe. You might hear about how they bring little pests and they might get infested. You may hear that chickens can sometimes get mean. Some people are going to tell you how expensive they are and all the things that you need to put money into in order to have them. And then just like you just heard right there, some people are going to tell you they are super noisy. Well, he's noisy. Well, we've been taking care of these guys now for about a year and a half, getting close to 2 years. Let me tell you our story. We have 24 chickens here on our farm, and they are split up into 2 different flocks. They have 2 totally different setups going on, which I'll explain in a little bit. But it'll be nice for you guys to kind of see the different setups that you can have. And I feel like with these 2, and there's probably one more common setup that people might have between the 3 of those things, and I'll explain all of them and the benefits and the good and the bad of each. So we have 14 here, kind of in our free-ranging setup with their coop right there. And then we have 10 about 7-week-old chicks here set up in our chicken tractor. So let's get into it. Is taking care of chickens really that hard? Are you guys hard to take care of? I don't think they're coming to see me. Say hi to everyone. Before we get into the chicken tractor setup and how those guys are doing though, let's go into our little more conventional setup that we have with these guys. Our chicken setup here for our main flock is free ranging. When we first got chickens, this is what we really wanted to do with them. It took us a couple months to get this setup going, but now that we have it, this is what we enjoy doing. But free ranging is definitely one of those things that might make it harder to raise chickens, but it's not something that you need to have a setup. As I was saying about the 3 main setups, I believe there's free range, there's the chicken tractor, which I just showed you guys, and then there's the more like enclosed chicken run and coop, which kind of keeps your chickens safe, but keeps them in a smaller area, and that's just kind of where they're gonna hang out with. I don't think there's one right or wrong answer. You can do any kind of setup you want. If you keep them in a coop and enclosed run, it's gonna be a lot easier to handle them, especially only having 3 to 4 chickens. This is where I'm gonna say that keeping chickens is easy and hard is based on the setups and what you want to do with them. If you do that, I think it's gonna be a little bit easier. We've chose to free range, and I'm gonna admit free ranging has its struggles. One of the #1 things that we've realized with free ranging chickens is that they might not lay eggs in your nesting box like you like. We've had 3 different times where we've had chickens start a nest and start laying eggs anywhere they want around, which is a problem because the reason that you keep chickens is you want to be able to get their eggs. So we started to notice that we felt like we weren't getting the amount of eggs that we needed, and 3 different times we found different nests somewhere about. So that is a problem that we came with free ranging. The next problem that we've had with free ranging our chickens and not being in an enclosed run is that even though we have a fencing here, unfortunately chickens still get out. And they will get out, they will hop this fence every once in a while or find any other way to get out, which becomes a problem. We do have a garden. Luckily we haven't really had any problems where our chickens ruin anything in the garden or wander off and get lost and never come back. Those ways we've been really lucky, but that is something that you can have happen. The main problem that we've encountered with a chicken getting out of the fencing area, unfortunately, was we were watching our mother-in-law's dog who was not used to being around chickens. One of our chickens got out over the fence, and unfortunately the dog got to the chicken and we ended up losing our first chicken ever from a predator attack, and it wasn't even one of the predators we thought to be worried about. But we do know that we hold a risk by having them out in a free range, whether it's hawks, owls, raccoons, anything else can come and get them. We haven't had any worries for us just yet. We do have a great Pyrenees that's out here quite a bit throughout the whole entire day that's kind of deters and gives their scent so that hopefully no predator is going to come around, and we've been pretty lucky here for a year and a half. The next thing that I want to talk about is letting your chickens out in the morning and locking them up at night. This is something, unfortunately, that you will have to do for them every single day. And although when we first started doing it, it was something that was very enjoyable, there is 2 different times that we forgot to lock them up at night. Luckily, no predators and no lost chickens during those 2 times, but it was something that happened, and it is something that could affect them. So we thought there had to be an easier way. So now we have an automatic chicken coop door on our coop, which will open up in the morning and will lock up at night so that we do not have to do it. So this is something that can really ease taking care of chickens for anyone, especially newer, or if you don't have the time always to come out and remember to lock them up, or you want to go on vacation. This is a great way of being able to take care of chickens easier. Next, we have their feed set up. We just have a container of their food that sits out here outside the fence, which makes it very convenient for us that when they're already let out in the morning, when our automatic door opens up, whatever time that we come out here in the morning, all we have to do is go ahead, scoop their food from this container, and we have their food and water both right on the side of the fence to make it really easy to feed and give them water. This is something though that we need to do every day. So for somebody, like I said, you might not have all the time, maybe you go on vacation for a few days here and there. There is feed and water containers to think about that hold more than just one day's worth so that you can go do those things still. We enjoy coming out and giving our animals their food and water because it allows us to see them for the day, be a part of them. But I do get why people might not want to do that, and you kind of just want the more convenient, easier way of doing it. So you can look into the different food and water options to make it easier for yourself. All right, now we'll get into our chicken tractor setup here for these chicks. This is a great option for somebody who necessarily doesn't want to free range their chickens because they're afraid of predators, or they don't want them getting into a garden or whatnot. You just want to make sure they're easily more contained. And what it is basically is just like one big movable enclosed chicken coop. So these are our 7-week-old chicks that we've been housing in our chicken tractor right now. And the main reason why we have a chicken tractor is when we're raising any of our chickens for meat. We don't have any of those here yet, but we do have some arriving next week. So these ones have about a few more weeks inside this chicken tractor before we combine them with the main flock where they're gonna free range and hopefully live in harmony. Raising in a chicken tractor is a very good thing for people who want the enclosed run, that want the safety from predators. It takes a little work because one, you need to either buy a chicken tractor, which is gonna cost you money. This is that expensive thing, just like how you saw our previous coop that we just had in the chicken run. Or you need to do something like what I did with this one, where you need to make yourself a chicken tractor, which does take work. And then in order to get them to their fresh grass, now that they're gonna be like in this little enclosed spot and you want them to be to a fresh piece of grass, you're gonna have to manually pull them about every 2 to 3 days so that they get to a fresh piece of grass and they're not just sitting around in their poop. And that's gonna be some work. You need to make sure that you come out here. You might not be letting them out or locking them up or anything at night, but about every 2 to 3 days you need to come and make sure you remember to move them to a new piece of grass. For food and water for these chicks, we have a little better setup, I think, at least for the water. The food, once again, is just a little container right outside the coop, so all we gotta do is scoop it up, put it in their container, put it in the chicken tractor. It's really nice and simple. And for their water, they have a big like 5-gallon water container inside there. And that's something that would last them 3 days, 4 days if we wanted. But we switch it about every 2 days so that they're getting fresher water. But yeah, these guys, if you time it right, we can change their water and move them about every 2 days. Really, the only thing we gotta make sure is that give them their feed. We don't gotta let them out or anything. So this setup may be easier for some people. I think the hardest part about this setup is just making sure you can get to the chicken tractor, whether you're paying the money to get it or building one. It really matters about a few things when it says about how easy it is to take care of chickens. The setup that you have them in, how many chickens you have, and like their food and water source that you're using for them can all play a huge factor into taking care of chickens really easily and possibly it being a little bit harder. But I think there's always the benefits. Like, we love that they free range, but it does cause us a little extra stress. We love raising our meat chickens in the chicken tractor, but we do have to come out every single day to move it to a new piece of grass. If I had to like put these on a scale of taking care of chickens, if you wanted to just, if all the scenarios had 5 chickens in them, whether it's enclosed chicken run, free ranging, and chicken tractor, I'd say that a coop with an enclosed run, out of 1 out of 10, 10 being the hardest, I would say that it's like a 2 of raising chickens. I would say in a chicken tractor, it's probably like a 4. And then free ranging, I'd say is like a 6. I still wouldn't mark it that hard, even if it has its extra stresses. I still don't think taking care of chickens is the hardest thing in the world. The hardest part about taking care of chickens is illness and injury. These are things that you cannot stop sometimes. These are things that will just happen and you never know when they will. We've had a few times where chickens got sick here, or we've had a few injuries here where we might have to do something to take care of them. Luckily for us, we've had no deaths or anything from illness or injury, but that is something that you're gonna run into, and that will be no matter what kind of animal you take care of, not even just the chicken. And then these are things that will come up, and you're gonna have to figure out what you need to do in those scenarios. These are things that we were never prepared for. There is things that you can do to try to prevent some of this stuff, but some of it is just gonna happen, and you're just gonna have to be ready for it. So don't be scared into not taking care of these chickens here. Really, I mean, we have a rooster right here, and he's a little mean, but chickens, for the most part, if we didn't have a rooster, some people have some feisty hens, but we've had a really good experience when it was just the hens. Ever since he came along, he's been a little bit of a problem where it's harder to be inside there with him. So we are looking into getting a new rooster. Sorry, that's how it goes. But overall, taking care of chickens, I would say, is not hard. It is very easy, especially compared to our pigs that we got back here. So if it's something that you're thinking about doing, look into getting them, and I would say get them if you had to ask me. You guys have a great day and a better tomorrow, and we'll see you guys in the next one.